have to be part of it.
No.
Okay.
It's in progress.
Are you okay?
Can you hear?
Where'd you say you were from again? I didn't.
And look under agendas and minutes
Okay, okay.
on the website. Yeah, did you find it? Okay. It's always the same. All right.
Huh?
Bye-bye.
Absolutely. You think I'm going?
Before we get started, can everybody hear us at home?
They can't hear. Maybe that's why they're not answering.
They're all still muted. Rhoda, can you hear us?
Say something again. Liz.
Nancy, can you hear me?
No.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
That's delayed.
Probably because the connection's unstable.
Rhoda, can you hear us?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Okay. We're about to get started.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everybody to the October 11th business meeting of the Verona Borough Council. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, that's recording, right?
Yes.
Yes,
So I'll need to,
okay.
I will anyways.
So you'll take roll call and everything.
I will. Find my, where is it? This?
Here's the-
Okay.
Minutes, please, roll call, please.
Mr. Floda,
Here.
Ms. Reddick Showalter,
Present.
Ms. Provenza,
Present.
Mr. Suchovich,
Here,
Mr. Wolf, Miss Wolf, Mrs. Wolf. Rhoda,
Rhoda Wharf here.
Mr. Chris.
Present, present.
Present. Is that everybody?
No.
Miss me.
And Dr. Carpenter,
Present.
Mayor Cupero,
he's not gonna be here tonight. He's on vacation.
Mr. Pitch. Present. And Craig Alexander, present.
Any emergency additional items to add? Does anybody have? I have two things. I want to add the minutes from September 27th. And I want to add paying for the flyers that we sent for Representative DeLuca.
You need to make a motion to that.
Yes,
You can if you want, go ahead.
We'll make a motion to add this too.
A second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Pass. Registered comments. Come to the podium, raise your, state your name and address. You have 3 minutes. First on the list is Laura Jacko, and I don't see Laura here unless
on.
she's virtual.
I'm checking. Not that I see.
We'll go on, and if she comes in, we can go back to her.
The car's just pulled in the lot, so I was coming in.
Okay, go ahead.
That's not her. Okay, second on the list is Obie Morford.
My name is Obie Morford. I live at 735 Third Avenue. And I'd like to thank my husband Jeff, who worked closely with me to write these comments. As stated on the agenda, my comments are in response to the health and safety fee you are about to charge each household in the borough that has a trash pickup service account. As Jeff and I understand it, with the exception of Councilman Suchovich, who voted no, Council recently approved through a majority of yes votes to impose this new fee entitled the health and safety fee. As was explained by Council, this fee will be a separate line item on the quarterly trash collection service bills to be paid by every household in Verona. And monies collected from that line item will be added to borough coffers. Council has justified imposing this fee on residents by explaining that due to a sizable budget deficit, there is no money available to pay for a myriad of health and safety related expenses, like the extermination of rats from vacant properties, tearing down condemned houses, and the purchase of fire department equipment. Since the 1980s, my husband Jeff has owned our Verona home that was built and previously occupied for many decades by earlier generations of his family. Jeff can attest to the fact that health and safety services such as these have always been paid for with property tax dollars. So it is disconcerting that even after a 1.9 mil increase in our 2022 property taxes, there is no money in the budget to pay for health and safety services. In voting yes for this fee, Council may have used the rationale that it amounts to only pennies a day. But if you do the math, a $15 line item added to the current trash collection service rate of $63 per quarter amounts to a bill payment increase of 25% per quarter per trash service account holder. If those of you who voted yes to implement this new $15 quarterly fee did so with a genuine concern for the health and safety of Verona residents, then you must also consider their financial health. It is unconscionable that you would impose this new additional fee at a time when inflation is at an all-time high, time when the price of staples, such as a dozen of eggs, has increased from 69 cents to $4.19. And the price of a gallon of gas has skyrocketed from less than $2 a gallon to this morning's price in this area of over $4 a gallon. Additional borough-related encumbrances at this time may be a financial tipping point for many Verona residents. Residents who are questioning whether new borough fees and increasing property taxes will soon make it unaffordable for them to continue living here. So Jeff and I are asking you to please repeal your new health and safety fee, for if council imposes new fees and increases future borough property taxes as a way to fix the broken budget, then you may become leaders of a ghost town with a zero tax base. Please repeal your new health and service and safety fee. And if you're not willing to do that, then please accept this registered comment as a formal public notice that all payments from the Morford household at 735 Third Avenue to satisfy quarterly trash collection service bills will not include payment of your separate $15 health and safety fee line item. Each payment stub will be duly noted with a specific instruction to the Keystone Collection Service that no portion of our check amount is to be applied to the $15 quarterly health and safety fee. And the Morfords will continue this practice until council's plan to impose their health and safety fee or the imposition of any other new borough fees is brought before Verona residents as a referendum on the election ballot. And the Morfords will not begin paying that line item until the fee referendum has received a majority of yes votes at the ballot box from we the people to accept your new fee. So please repeal your new health and safety fee. As I step away from this podium, I would encourage every resident in this audience to make that same simple request of council publicly during this meeting to repeal their new health and safety fee, especially if council is not going to present this fee in a referendum on the ballot for Verona residents to vote.
You need to address council.
Thank you.
Thank you, Obie.
Thank you.
Next on the list is Stephanie Garabay.
Good evening, council. Stephanie Garabay. I am at 448 Center Avenue. I want to seek approval, bring it up to you guys for the Light Up Night Jolly Jamboree event the chamber will hold from 1 to 9. At the end of that, or towards the end of the night, we would like to have a bonfire in Railroad Park. So wanted to see what further steps I needed to make in order to make that happen, if it can happen. I have been in touch with our fire chief, and my next step of action is to address you guys and see what your thoughts were and if that's possible and what I'll need to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have any comments for Stephanie? I think it's a good idea to have a Jolly Jamboree. I don't have a problem with using the park. As you said, you talked to Dan. And I'm depending on what you're planning, if you're just planning a 55-gallon drum of wood, I don't know what the rules are. I know for the high school bonfires, they got to get fire permits, burn permits and everything. So I don't know if you checked into that far. But I personally don't have a problem with y'all using the park down here. Anybody else?
I have no objection to it.
When did you want to do that?
It'll be Saturday, November 19th, the night of the hometown holiday parade that we do with the work.
You want to put that on the agenda for the workshop?
Yeah. November 19th, you said.
That's from 1 to 9, correct?
Yes, it's 1 to 9, but the bonfire will be.
Are you talking to like ending at 9, including the bonfire, or the bonfire at 9?
No, ending it by 9, including the bonfire.
So
So
bonfire 7:30, 8 o'clock-ish. Okay.
Thank you. Registered, comments from the public. We'll take comments from the public on agenda-related items only. Approach a podium. Limit your conversation to 3 minutes, please.
Laura's online.
Oh,
Laura's, yes.
okay. We'll go back to Laura Jacko. She's online now.
Go ahead, Laura.
Hi, I'm sorry. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with the borough, but on Zoom it's extremely buggy and really difficult to hear. So can you hear me?
Yep,
Yes, very
yes,
well.
we can.
Oh man, it's jumping around. I can't even hear. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna talk. If anybody has any questions, I'm really sorry if you can't hear me. You can always follow up via email. So
Laura, we can
Laura
hear you very
Jacko,
well. Can you hear us?
437 North Avenue. Okay. I heard someone say they can hear me, I think.
Yes, we can.
I am just speaking on behalf of the Shade Tree Commission, just letting everybody know that we have our tree planting coming up on October 22nd. It's going to be from 9 to noon or 1. And definitely would like it if everybody could help spread the word, because we'll need volunteers for the tree planting. I also wanted to request that the borough building could be open for our volunteers to meet and eat, use the little kitchen there and use the restrooms as well during that time. So I'd like to, formally request that. And I did let everybody know, or the borough office know, but just please let me know if you have any questions. There was some prep that was done already. You might see some holes that were dug and filled in preparation for the trees. I'm going to take a pause and try to listen real hard if anybody has any questions on that.
Thank you.
Anybody has any questions here?
Okay. Is it okay for the building to be open?
I don't have a problem. We can have that open.
It'll be open.
Okay, I think I heard that. Okay, perfect, thank you. And secondly, I had been speaking with Councilwoman Redzak Showalter back and forth these last couple weeks, there were some bids that were brought in for tree trimming on, I think, Ridge Avenue and Selden, that area. And I had discussed via email that it looked like the bids were somewhat disparate. They covered all different areas in each bid. So the Shade Tree Commission, we were really unable to make a good recommendation as to which one we thought would be best to go with, just because it looked like all the companies were bidding on slightly different things. And we would suggest that, moving forward, what might be the best practice, especially as you're going into budget planning for next year, that perhaps we just bring an arborist on every year to go around and check and make their suggestions as to what needs to be cared for that year. I did make a recommendation for Allegheny Arborscapes there, who Tree Vitalize uses. They're very good. And I think it might just be a good idea annually just to have a professional come through and make a recommendation as to what they think needs to be cared for that year and do that. So that way we're not just trying to get these new bids out for, different things every year and going through a confusing process. For the coming year, some of the places that I've noted or that have been brought to my attention that are going to need some trimming, so I think should be put in the budget, are, for example, the business district, as we talked about previously, because there was some bad trimming that was done by Beaver Jack there before. I think there's some at Cribbs Field. Someone said there's some branches in front of signage or things like that. So our recommendation would be just bringing on an arborist who can then just give their professional opinion annually as to what needs to be done, and then go ahead and do that. So that would be my suggestion for the coming year. And that is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Good. We'll now go to comments from the public. Agenda-related items.
Agenda-related items. So if it's on the agenda, now is the time to offer public comment.
Step up to the podium and
Does it relate what was said?
Well, there's a separate period of public comment later on in the meeting for any item. The first period of public comment is for agenda-related items.
You can talk
if
about
it's on the agenda, you can.
Yeah, I don't know what the comment is, but if it's on the agenda, you can
About trees and.
come on up to the microphone. Pat.
it. Yeah, that's on the agenda.
Yep.
Yeah.
You turn the microphone back on, please. Turn it off because it might have been giving feedback. I'll get it for you.
First of all, who is responsible for the trees?
You can
In-
say your name.
First of all, please speak your name and your address, please.
Kathy Ferguson, 701 3rd Avenue in Verona.
Thank you.
All right, 15147. All right. Who is responsible for the trees in the side, from the sidewalk to the street?
Property owner.
Property owner? Okay, thank you. And I want to just confirm that I agree with what Obi has said. Obi said that why should we be paying for past mistakes constantly? We need to fix this budget up
Thank you, Kathy.
without.
Did she just flip us off?
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome.
Anybody else on agenda-related items?
My name is Kathy Conti, 723 3rd Avenue. I'm in agreement with the repealing of the new fee that's going to be posted on the trash bills. Just like other fees on Comcast, which now I find out we can't get Verizon because the borough made a deal with them. Not everybody can attend these meetings, even by Zoom. And even trying to get on Zoom, sometimes it's impossible. I would like to know why we have a Verona newsletter that goes out and there's notes from the mayor's desk. There is never any information like this noted in that. Most of the residents I have spoken to had no idea about this new fee Taxes were raised in 2022. I'm sure they're going to be raised again in 2023. Most of these people are on fixed incomes, very tight budgets. I just don't see where we should be paying for misappropriation of funds that the borough has done. Somebody needs to be held accountable, and it should not be the residents. Everybody in this borough and the residents, the businesses should have all be asking these questions, and we should be receiving complete and truthful responses as to what's going on with this. We've lost key members. So that means those salaries are not being paid. Where is that money going? We have a right to know this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it Kathy with a K or Kathy with a C? Thank you.
No, that's all right.
Hello, my name's Sylvia Shara. I live at 759 Second Street, Verona, longtime Verona resident, born and raised here. As a property owner, I also am requesting that this fee be repealed, this health and safety fee. We are on fixed incomes as well. I have tenants, and it's becoming impossible to raise the rents enough to keep the tenants and to pay all these fees. The garbage fees, I pay 4 garbage fees. This would be a very expensive for me to have this extra fee put on. And there's another fee that I'm also opposed to that was incorporated many years ago because of the wage tax needed to be collected. And that was the rental licensing fee. And the only reason I understood that to be imposed was so that wages were collected from the tenants. Now that's all being done through employers. Why do we continue to have to pay that fee every year? I pay $30 per unit for that fee. And now you want to impose another $15 per unit I have to pay, which is making it impossible for us to keep tenants and to live in the borough. So I'm asking that this fee and that rental license fee be looked at as far as why we are continuing those fees. And I ask that you repeal this health and safety fee. Thank you.
Thank you.
A quarter.
No, the rental license fee.
One meeting, please. Anybody else on the agenda? Anybody else on agenda related items?
Oh, okay.
My name is Pat Shara. I live at 401 Parker Street in Verona here. And my experiences with the garbage company have been disastrous. They've destroyed my new sidewalk and the curb. And I have spoken to someone from, I realize she's not here anymore, but she was helping me with dealing with the Christine Murtaugh at the garbage company who kept insisting it's not our truck. Well, this truck would come down the alley, made a huge ridge in, remember when Nancy, what was it, Nath used to live? They tore down that house. Now they just made a big gully in that property, and they would making the left turn onto High Street, destroying my curb and my sidewalks. Now a neighbor is parking his truck there for Thursday mornings. So she's making a right turn, and I've got pictures. She destroyed the curb across the street, and she hit the telephone pole, which is now leaning. If that sucker falls, we're going to have live wires all over High Street and the alley. And I think the safety thing has more to do with the way they're dealing with the garbage. They take your lids and they just throw them on the sidewalks. Somebody falls over that, I get sued, not the company. They leave my garbage cans in the middle of the road. I don't know if it's a vindictive thing or whether, because I see my neighbors get put back up on the curb. And consider the company next time the contract is up, please.
Can you spell your last name, please?
SCH.
I wasn't even close on that.
Thank you. No, I wasn't either.
And Sylvia, you spelled yours the same way?
Yeah, we're sisters in law.
My name is Gary Sherry, live at 759 Second Street in Verona. I too want to appeal this safety and health fee as well. And also, if we're looking for money, I'm a carpenter and I worked in a lot of different communities. A lot of communities only clean their streets once a month. If we're looking for a way to cut costs, that would be, if we clean our streets once a month, I mean, the streets ain't all that dirty every week. I mean, there's no reason that we need to keep cleaning the streets every week. I mean, not that I don't want to do away with street cleaning, but it doesn't need done every week. And that'd be a way of cutting the cost of those wages and helping us with our budget here.
Great point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'm Janet Graham, Graham. My maiden name was Knapp. I've lived in Verona all my life. And I'm back in my home that I grew up. I just want to say
What would that address be, please?
where I am now,
Where you live, yeah.
718 4th Street.
Thank you.
I just want to say that I agree with Obie. And I think we should have a chance to vote on this on the ballots.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, Kelly Collins, 736 4th Street, Verona, PA. I am with Obie also. I think it should be either repealed or put on referendum for the people of Verona to vote on. I'd also like to know, I saw that Yin's advertised, and I just want to know where it was advertised at.
Valley News Dispatch.
Valley News Dispatch. Okay, well, like a lot of people in Verona don't get that. So the majority of the people,
You have two options, the Valley News Dispatch and the Post Gazette.
Ah.
And the Post Gazette, I think, publishes once or twice a week now. I mean,
why didn't we could have put that in the monthly, the newsletter that comes out when more people would know about that.
hey, guys, one meeting.
Because I guarantee you, the majority of Verona people either don't get the newspaper.
So we're governed by something that's called the Borough Code.
Mhm.
And the Borough Code was recodified back in 2012, and they created a whole new Borough Code.
Okay,
And the legislature had the ability to solve this problem, but they didn't.
Okay.
The Borough Code requires that legal advertisements go into a paper in circulation. So we're required to advertise it in the newspaper.
okay, so
But
anytime it would be in the Trib, which one, the Valley?
the Valley News is the Trib,
Or the Trib, okay,
or
just so
the
I
Post
know.
Gazette, because there's only two papers.
Right, exactly.
But we're going to be getting a new manager here, hopefully by the end of the night. And I think maybe one thing we can do prospectively is try to get these draft ordinances on the website. So
That would
that
be great, because I know a lot of people go to the website,
Yeah.
because people say, I haven't seen it on the website.
We're
But
re-
honestly, a lot of
we're-
people just don't get the newspaper anymore.
we're required to advertise it in the newspaper, which nobody looks at.
Yeah, exactly.
So what we'll do is try to get it on the website, and then from there, the social media people can throw it out in the community.
That sounds great. And I'm also with Obie. You can mark me down for 736. I also will not be paying this fee until it's either repealed or maybe be put out for referendum. Because I think that's only fair to the citizens of Verona, since that is who this is affecting. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks, Kelly. Anybody else on agenda-related items?
Some kind of newsletter, because things has changed, and not a lot of people don't understand
Sure.
websites and stuff like that. They have a newsletter brought out about the new rules and regulations.
Go ahead, sir.
Somebody has to write.
Guys, we're having one meeting here. Okay, go
My name's
ahead.
Dan Rafferty. I'm a resident at 728 Third Avenue. Ray will be glad to know I'll only be limited to 3 minutes tonight.
You're good.
I first want to state my opposition to the safety, health and safety fee. I'm not opposed to the fee. I'm opposed to ad hoc things in general, like the waste treatment thing in the city of Pittsburgh 80 years ago. And the turnpike, once things start, they got a life of their own. And then you have another ad hoc and another. So in general, I'm all for if you have a budget deficit, you just, what do you do in a family? You do with less that year, and the next year, you put it in the budget, you put it on a referendum, and if it passes, all good, whatever it is. So for me, I'm fortunate enough that the money isn't an issue, but I'm probably in the minority. A lot of people, and maybe me one day, on a limited income, so that's a concern for other folks that I understand and support. So the question of why is there a budget deficit? That's a big question. Can't be answered tonight. I should know more about it coming in here. Shouldn't even have to ask that. What was the previous annual cost for this item? Was it budgeted? Certainly, it's been an issue in every municipality and borough forever. Blighted properties, properties that need to be dealt with for rat control, pest control, and it's one way or another, there's been a cost. So what was the cost, or was it a budgeted item? Really, then that leads to what is the cost going to be? Have you done do you know what that's going to be? Is that based on previous years? Or is that, an estimate, guesstimate? Which then leads to what is the projected dollar amount? I guess you would just take the number of units times 60. And I don't know what that is. That would be interesting information to have. Is that going to be 120 grand? Is it? And so then what's it going to cost? Are we going to have, what if you have an overflow? What if you have 100,000 sitting in the kitty, sitting in the fund? Does that get folded into the next year? Is that a starter for next year as a return to the general fund? So I guess these are all a lot of specific budget related questions, but really, I'm curious about all of them, but what's this gonna, what do you, I don't know if you can answer, what's the total dollars coming in? So anyway, that's.
You should know that.
I should know that?
No, they should.
Oh, yeah,
Right now,
do
they should
do
know.
we know that? What's that gonna be? Units times 60?
Not sure. We haven't gone that far yet.
Okay, so I don't think we'll be paying that part of the fee as well until this is either put on a referendum and passed, or. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Respectfully.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you. There, just so you know, and so everyone knows, there will be a special budget meeting again this year in November.
Any other agenda related items, Mrs. Trubicki Bell?
Sandy Drabicki Bell, 619 Third Avenue, 60-year resident of Verona. Never experienced anything so ridiculous as this health and safety fee. Was at the workshop meeting in September when you all couldn't figure out whether it was $5 a quarter or $5 a month. I understood you to vote on $5 a month, which would be $60. So on 1,000 units, that's 60,000. You can figure that much into the budget. So the solicitor graciously answered my question when I asked if it was state mandated or council fabricated. And he assured me that it wasn't state mandated. So I can only assume the other, fabricated by council. So I went back to listen to the 8:30 meeting where Christine talked about this was a related funding for stormwater management, like street lighting, street cleaning, leaf and debris removal, animal control, code enforcement. All those are lined items on the 2022 budget. You agreed to increase our millage by 1.9 after citizens complained about that. I also called the Auditor General's office, and he said that council can control taxes and fees as such, okay? But he also said that, excuse me while I try to find this. Anyhow, it went on to say that council, the elected officials, can explain what's going on to the citizens of the Verona. So I haven't heard any explanation yet what's going to happen with this money. You don't even know how much money it's going to be bringing in. So as with everybody else in this borough that's here tonight opposing this, I also am opposing this. And until it's put out to referendum to the taxpayers, I'm not going to consider paying it. Thank you for your time.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Sandy. Anyone else? Okay, thank you. One thing, what's that?
Nobody's on.
Nobody online? One thing I forgot to mention earlier, we had 3 executive sessions previous to tonight's meeting in regards to personnel matters. September 29th, October 3rd, and October the 5th. Moving on, no comments from the advisory boards.
Mr. President,
Yes,
before
sir.
we move on, I just wanted to respond to Ms. Contai's comment with regard to a deal with Verizon. I'm sorry?
Comcast. Verizon told me that I cannot get cable through them because the borough made a deal with Comcast. So they cannot provide me cable service in this area.
That's what I meant. A deal with Comcast so that we couldn't get Verizon.
Yes.
We have heard that probably for 15 years. That the Verizon employees they're not employees, they're the people they're the salesmen.
But there's a.
Hold on, let me talk. Let me talk. You had your turn. It's my turn. We've been hearing that for 15 years. Mrs. Trubicki Bell's over here. She was on council for 8 years. She's heard it. There's never, ever, ever been a deal made with Comcast so that we can't get Verizon. I can tell you, every single person up here would love to have the competition in Verona. Every single person in prior councils would love to have Verizon in Verona. There's never, ever, ever been a deal made. And in fact, I actually had an executive vice president come in one day. His name's William Carnahan. You can look him up on Google. He's a higher up in Verizon. The state, there's never been a deal made. They simply aren't going forward with any more Verizons anywhere. Fios systems, they're not building it out. They came in one time, maybe 5 years ago. They were going to build out the Verizon because it's partially built out here in Verona, and they were going to build it out. And Sandy, I think that you were on the board when they came in. The next week it was dead because they were now in a process where they're acquiring something else and they stopped their expansion again. Verizon has simply stopped expanding. It's not that any council, whether it's this council, Oakmont, Penn Hills, Harmer, anywhere, nobody has a deal with Comcast to keep Verizon out. Everybody wants Verizon in.
Can I ask?
So that's just fake news. Yeah, go ahead.
When you call Comcast and ask them what the regional fee is, they say it's being paid to the borough.
What?
A regional fee that's listed on.
Every cable provider provides what's called a franchise fee to the community in which they exist. Verizon, if they were here, would also pay a franchise fee. Both companies would pay franchise fees to the community for the luxury of being able to be here. And we would love to get a franchise fee from both of them.
So Verizon's lying.
The salespeople are lying. If you actually talk to a true Verizon executive, they'll tell you the truth.
That I would be able to get Verizon cable at my house.
They're not, Verizon's not here. They're not built here.
They don't have their FiOS lines and everything through their boroughs.
Thank you for listening to me.
Mr. Solicitor, if I may. So the Verizon doesn't have the infrastructure. Even though there's Verizon poles, those wires handle telephone and
They have
internet.
them in Penn Hills.
Correct, but they're not expanding. So if they ever expanded the wire, you could get it. One new thing that Verizon is offering, that if anyone has Verizon cell phone, they're now offering internet packages off the cell phone signal.
Right, but that doesn't work for, that doesn't.
So I realize that that's not
Yeah,
that's
it's
not
complicated.
TV,
It doesn't work
but
the
it
same.
at least gives some competition to Comcast internet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now moving on to the rest of the agenda, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Nothing from the board and commissions. The financials. Here's the report for the financials. We just to let everybody know, we're just in a process now of redoing our committees. And the finance committee just got notified today who they were. So we're going to give you the budget versus the actuals. Everything's here, you know, as of September 31st or 30th. We took in $1,791,720.95. Our expenses were $1,135,176.76. Our net income, or what we have in our bank right now, is $656,544.19. Can I have a motion to accept that?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. The next thing is the bills. The lists are here of all the bills. You all read them, you all have them. Can I have a motion to accept the bills?
I'll make a motion.
Second,
Second.
Just for the minutes, we announced that the motion made by Mr. Floto,
okay,
second by
okay, sorry about that.
Mr. Craig.
Motion made by Mr. Flotis, second by Mr. Craig. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Passed. We're gonna do the approval of the minutes. We have 2 months of minutes here. We're gonna approve, what?
Meetings.
2 meetings, I'm sorry, 2 meetings.
Approve them both.
We can approve them both at the same time?
Approval of the September 13 regular business meeting and the September 27 workshop meeting.
Do I have a motion for that?
I'll motion.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Jack Showalter, second by Vince. All in favor?
I have a comment.
Hold on.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It states block trail, should be Box Trail, 27th.
27, where's it at?
Yes, I did remember that.
Where is it?
Towards the end information.
Which letter? Do you know which letter?
It's supposed to be what?
VOP.
Aye, it's under I.
VOP. Okay,
VOPP.
Under
I got it. Okay. Is that the only change, correction?
That's L. JKL. I wanted to ask something about the 27.
Yep.
That's not necessarily like that there's a problem with anything, but under discussion items, part A, number C. I can't remember, and I don't have it written down in my notes. Did we only discuss what we wanted the health and safety fee to be and not vote on it?
Correct. We
So-
said we will put it on the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Okay, so we haven't voted on the health and safety. We voted on the ordinance, but we didn't
We
vote
just-
yet on the amount.
We discussed what the fee should be. There was a consensus that it would be, we would place $5 a month on the agenda for consideration today.
Okay, so so then prior to that, back on, I don't know, it was probably September 13th, the ordinance itself was voted on 6 or 5-1. I don't know who voted for what, because it's like
The ordinance,
revolving doors of who's on council on any given night, but but I remember that Mr. Suchovich was the only dissenting vote at that time for the ordinance, and prior to that, a vote was made to go ahead and advertise the ordinance on, I think, August 30th. Is my recollection. I just wanted to clarify that and make sure we didn't vote on it on the 27th.
Any other changes to the minutes? Okay,
We have a first and a second.
and with that change to make it VOP. Go ahead.
That would be VOP.
PP?
Yeah, Penn Hills and Plum.
Yes.
Penn Hills and Plum. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Passed. President's report. We're going to touch base real quick on a couple items. We had, like I said, we had 3 exec sessions. We did interviews we had 8 or 9 applications. We interviewed 4 people. We had it knocked down to 4 people. After the interviews, 1 person rescinded their application, yes. So that's where the three were interviews and discussed a benefit package for the new borough manager. So that's that.
Did you decide on it?
Yes, I can bring that up right now, right? Because it's a motion to do it later. Her name is Stephanie Wolfer. And if Stephanie would stand up, she's in the office. Stephanie is who's in consideration for our new borough manager's job later on in the meeting.
We'll circle back to Stephanie here, Sue.
Yes. Number 2, it's called adjust, we have down our adjusted hours and a stipend for our administrative assistant. Our administrative assistant was scheduled to work 25 hours a week, up to 25 hours a week. With the loss of Christine leaving us, she needed more time to get the job done and keep the borough going. So we had on one of the exec sessions, we offered her 2 more hours a day, up to 10 hours a week. And then we're giving her a stipend for all the work she's been doing. She's been doing a manager's job, the secretary's job. And she was off sick for, I think it was 8 days. Yeah, and we offered her a stipend of 5 days. So we need a motion for that, right, Mr.
Motion to ratify the adjusted hours and stipend to the administrative assistant, whose name is Teresa in the office.
Teresa Maciosi.
Maciosi, you guys know, you know her.
I'll make the motion.
First by Trish,
I'll second that.
second by Vince. Any question?
I have a comment. Just want to thank Teresa for the outstanding work she's done in the sudden absence of a borough manager. She's really stepped it up, stayed late when not prompted, and really helped us to tie up loose ends and be able to carry on in the disarray that we found ourselves in. So I just want to thank Teresa.
I too would like to say what kind of job Teresa's doing through the takeover, with everybody leaving and leaving her stuck with all the work. She's been doing an awesome job. So. Anybody else? With that being said, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Passed. Number 3, council committees. We got a new list for committees. We'll get them out. We have to make a couple changes after we talk to 2 of the people. That list, I don't think we have to make a motion for that.
No.
628 Center Avenue. The fire up there on the old Ritchie store. They're requesting their money be released out of escrow.
Well, what was the result of the inspection?
Okay. Okay, I got this letter from Teresa. says Jason Crane Bucker, DUI's building inspector, called today concerning this property. The owner would like the borough to release a portion of the
So
insurance.
that's October 4th. There was supposed to be an inspection today. Do we know what the results of that?
I
inspection
got
is?
nothing on that today. So we can't do nothing then.
She wanted either the full release of the escrow if she passed the inspection, or there may be one item that she had to complete, and that she wanted a partial distribution.
90%.
She wanted a partial distribution of whatever that cost would be, but we don't have an update from her.
I haven't heard nothing.
I don't know how we release it. I mean, once we figure it out, and if she's entitled to it, we'll release it. We'll ratify it at the next
Okay.
month meeting.
Okay. For the next thing on the thing is the status of 412 Penn Street. And I think Matt got something on that.
Yes, I was in contact with the owner. He was having some issues with the county and getting his demolition permit, but I believe he has that all straightened out now. And he should be moving forward with the demolition. I don't know the exact time frame, but I know he's getting his permits in order.
I spoke with him on Friday, and he told me that he was hopeful to have the permit application into the borough by Friday, by the end of the day on Friday, but no later than yesterday.
Okay,
And I didn't call back to see if that actually happened, but that's what he told me.
I'll check with Teresa on that. Our permit is rather simple. The more concerning one is the counties, that they can hang that up a little bit, but I did discuss that with him, so he's aware of what he needs to do.
So can you clarify, does the borough need to intervene for either of these houses that need to be demolished?
There's only one being demolished.
We just have a demolition permit for the borough that they apply for.
Okay.
And then the county, they handle all the plumbing inspections and everything like that. There's an asbestos permit that they have to apply for, being that it's burnt. That's usually waived, but that's all done on the county level. Their contractor will do that.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to wait to hear from them before we proceed with maybe them own it. To see if he got his permits.
Well, he'll be the one demoing
Right.
it.
Yeah.
But I'm
I'll
saying-
check with Teresa tomorrow to see if he submitted the borough's
She
permit.
had to leave her an hour early today, so maybe it came in a little later. Next on the agenda is reschedule November's council meeting due to a conflict with election day. So I guess I'm gonna need a motion, Mr. Solicitor.
Correct.
I need a motion to,
Make a motion to move it to the 15th.
I'll second that.
first by Mr. Craig, second by Dr. Carpenter. Any questions?
I just wondered, did anyone contact Mr. Ewing about them changing their chamber meeting?
I believe the mayor was supposed to do that. He said that it shouldn't be a problem.
Sylvia, you don't know, do you?
No, they said nothing to me.
So that still needs.
I
to be-
can call tomorrow morning and talk to Kevin.
Yeah, I will not be here at that meeting. I have another council meeting that night, but we'll figure out some sort of representation.
Okay. Next on the list.
Didn't they get a vote?
Oh, I'm sorry. We've had first and second, all in favor? Against? Passed. Next on the list is the health and safety fee and Keystone's collection group. We did get a letter from Keystone stating that they are taking no new clients on for any fees. So that leaves us in a little bit of a jackpot. What's our pleasure? What do we want to talk about?
I think the public has clearly spoken.
Yeah, I would like to, can I make a motion
Yes.
to repeal that?
We can't make a motion to repeal the ordinance because that requires passing a ordinance. You can make a motion to
We make a motion to set the fee at 0.
deny setting the fee, yeah, and authorize me to prepare an ordinance to repeal the
I'll
fee.
make that motion.
Second.
First by Mr. Flotus, second by Ms. Trish Resdeck Showalter. On, any questions?
I have some comments. Yeah, as the public has said, I don't consider this actually a fee. It's a tax because to me, a fee goes towards a specific item. This is set up as being a slush fund. It can go to this, 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 it can go to this. There's nothing that this is going for. We have, and the other thing is as Taylor did her report this summer, we have a large quantity of senior citizens, single parent homes. In these times of inflation and recession, I don't think we should be putting a burden on people.
Any other comments?
What's this idea?
We have a motion on the floor right now.
Okay.
Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Passed.
Motion carries 7-0.
And to answer your question, there was a few people come up with it. You have to look back at the meeting.
Well, hold on. There's a period of public comment at the end of the meeting
Okay.
also. We're in the middle of the business meeting.
I was talking to the president.
I understand that, but we have some decorum. We're in the middle of the meeting. There's a period of public comment at the end. Everybody's talking over everybody today.
Mayor's report, David Recupero, he has nothing to report.
Mr.
You
President,
forget-
you missed number 8.
Did I, number 8?
Of my water.
Oh, Jesus. I have two things there. The Oakmont Water Authority, number 8, Oakmont Water Authority Service Agreement. Mr. Alexander handled that.
You just need a motion to approve.
We need a motion to approve the service agreement.
Is this anything different from any other year? Is this a standard operating procedure?
Yes.
Yes, a standard.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the agreement.
Motion by Mr. Floda,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Craig. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Passed. One other thing that was added to the agenda or to my report, we sent flowers for Mr. DeLuca. We should have had a moment of silence at the beginning of the meeting and we missed that. So if we could have a moment of silence right now for Mr. DeLuca, State Representative DeLuca, we'll take that at this time. Thank you.
So motion to ratify the expenditure for the flowers.
Motion to ratify the expenditure of the flowers. It's going to be about, I'm not exactly sure, $65 or $70.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Nancy, second by Sylvia. Any question?
Just want to say that he was a great man who did a lot for the community.
He did a lot. He was a good man. Any other comments, questions? All in favor? Against? Passed. Now I can go to the mayor's report, and he's not here. He has nothing to report. Borough Secretary report, we have nothing. Code enforcement report, we got the one thing here. It's just a list of where he's notice of violation reports. We don't need to make a motion for that.
No.
I don't think so. The next report is a police chief's report. Did he give that to anybody?
Yeah.
It's right here. We haven't.
You want to read it, Trish?
Total number of complaints received, 103. for September. Total crimes reported was 14. Total crimes cleared was 10. Total persons arrested was 4. Crime code summary issued is 0. Vehicle code summary issued is 5. Borough code summary issued is 35. Borough parking tickets is 107. Under revenue, magistrate fines collected was $652.78. Borough fines and fees collected $725. Police reports purchased $30. Amusement device permit fees is $0. Municipal fines $76.55 for a total fines and fees collected of $1,484.32. I don't know if I need to read this. Parking permit fees additional $120.
Thank you. The next report would be the fire chief's report, Dan T.
The fire company for the month of September responded to a total of 5 calls. 9/6, 290 Suncrest Drive in Penn Hills for a smoke condition. There was smoke from an electrical outlet. 9/16, commercial fire alarm at 1233 Halton Road in Oakmont. It was a false alarm. 9/18, smoke condition at 544 West Railroad Avenue. There was smoke in an apartment from a burnt crock pot. 9/21, a residential fire alarm, 617 4th Street in Penn Hills. There was a false alarm. 9/24, commercial fire alarm at 132 Arch Street in Verona. It was from burnt food on the stove.
Thanks, Dan. The EMS report. Lower Valley. I don't have, his report is really, so I'm just going to give the number of dispatches in Verona. They were dispatched 34 times and they used one mutual aid company. He also said, we are hiring in all positions, wheelchair van drivers, EMDs, advanced EMTs, paramedic. We will be at the trunk retreat on October 31st at the Riverview Children's Center at 10 a.m. Solicitors report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I did prepare a written solicitor's report. It's in your packet. I did reference in the solicitor's report that you and I met Sunday night to prepare the manager's contract. Obviously, it wasn't Sunday night, it was Wednesday night because that was the executive session.
Right.
I don't know how I messed that up, but
It was
it was late. But with that addition, I don't have anything further.
Thank you. Okay. Engineers report, Mr. Pitch.
Thank you, Mr. President. You have a copy of my written report. Just a few highlights. We opened bids for the comprehensive CCTV and condition rating of the borough storm source system. That will be motion C under new business to award that contract. We're in the process of closing out a couple of the open grants that we have. We did supply or submit for 2 GEDF applications, which is motion D under new business to discuss and pass a resolution along with those. And the other item that came up after I submitted my report, the state has opened the PA small water and sewer grants again. So I will work to put together an application for additional sanitary sewer lining. That is a 85% grant, 15% match amount on those. And that's all I have unless there's any questions.
Anybody have anything for Mr. Pitch? Thanks, Mr. Pitch. We'll go to committee reports now. And again, like I said, the committees just got their notice today, so there's not too much here. Finance committee, anybody want to say anything from the finance committee? Nancy? No? Okay. Rec and community events, Vince?
No, nothing at this time.
Public safety? Communications, Sylvia? Ms. Provenza?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. We'll start with the newsletter. We're in the process of working on our winter holiday issue, which is going to cover December, January, and February. And we need your ads and articles by Tuesday, November the 1st. This is a busy time of year, so if you could please get them to us even sooner, that would be great. Chamber of Commerce. Next chamber meeting will be held next Tuesday, October the 18th at 7 PM here in the Borough Building. And we're going to stuff the trick or treat bags at that meeting. And also Halloween parade will be held on Saturday, October 29th at 11 AM. And the children will march around Allegheny River Boulevard. And trick or treat night is going to be on Monday, October 31st from 6 PM to 8 PM. Verona Historical Society, the meeting is going to be held on Thursday, October the 20th, 7 PM here in the Borough Building. And the guest speaker is going to be Gary Rogers, a member of the Oakmont Historical Society. And he will be presenting on the history of the Verona Oakmont Cemetery. These meetings are open to the public and all are welcome. And these are very, very interesting meetings. We actually learn a lot about our town that we didn't know about. So we will always invite you. Twin Borough Ministries, the next community dinner at the Verona Methodist Church will be held on Wednesday, October 26th from 4:30 to 6:30. And it will be hosted by the Verona Moose. Allegheny League of Municipalities. They're currently finishing up the fall conference, which is going to be in Erie, Pennsylvania. And it will be on October 21st through the 23rd. And if you really are interested in going, you would have to call them ASAP because they're finalizing everything now. And if there are any questions or comments, I'll be glad to take them. And if not, this concludes my reports. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia.
You're welcome.
Next would be infrastructure and asset management. Trish,
Nothing at this time.
and next would be community development. Rhoda,
Nothing at this time. Thank you.
thank you. Reports of
Absolutely.
special committees, nothing at this time. Let's go into old business, tree trimming, Tricia Resnick Showalter.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. As Shade Tree President Laura Jacko mentioned earlier, we have received a number of quotes at the last meeting that we forwarded onto our shade tree for evaluation for tree trimming within the borough. The shade tree, and I think several of us found that the quotes were rather inconsistent, not just in regards to price, but it was unclear if they all were looking at the same trees on the same streets. It was also brought up that we have several other issues that were not addressed by the quotes, like the need to do more pruning, recovering from the work done previously by Beaver Jack, as well as issues that are coming to the borough regarding the spotted lanternfly and trees that currently harvest this pest. So given that, we are going to not pursue any of those quotes at this time and look at a more comprehensive evaluation to ensure the health and vitality of our trees across the borough and make sure that all the quotes are consistent for that.
Thank you, Trish. Anybody have anything for Trish on that?
That's a great idea.
So who's going to oversee that?
So I was actually hoping that the new head of recreation and community events would be willing to look into that,
Okay, cool.
along with Shade Tree, of course.
Yeah, to do that. Great.
Okay, we're going to new business. As we said earlier, the borough has spoke, they want a borough manager. We're finally to the point where we feel that we went through the process and we feel that we found the perfect candidate. And I would like to make the motion that we hire Stephanie Wilford as our new borough manager.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
First by Nancy, second by Sylvia. Any questions?
We can make a comment
Yes.
about Stephanie. Stephanie, we are very excited to have you come on board. You come to us with a perfect mix of both your education as well as your experience, everything that I've heard you have done for RCAC in the community, and I've seen you do has just been tremendous. And we're just so excited to see how you translate that experience here to local government and really continue to elevate Verona to the places that I know we all want to elevate Verona to. So we're all enthusiastically so overwhelmed for you to come. Yeah. Does anyone else want to add anything?
I do. I also would like this. Stephanie comes with a long list of accolades. She's been working, she has a nice resume, and she's been highly recommended. So I'd like to add to the motion that her starting date would be October 31st. That's correct, right? Yep.
Halloween.
So with that being said, if nobody else has anything to say, all in
Welcome,
favor?
Stephanie. We can't wait till you get here.
that being-
That's my comment.
With that being said, no other comments?
Welcome, Stephanie.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Passed. Welcome, Dan.
Congratulations.
Welcome, Stephanie.
We can sign your employment contract at the end of the meeting. Is that okay? You gonna stick around?
Yeah, that's absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, the next thing on new business new business is a motion to adopt the Oakmont Water Authority Service Agreement. I'm gonna need a motion on that.
Oh, we already did that.
Yeah, we did
That's
that
what I
earlier.
thought.
You had it on your report too.
Okay, okay. Let's script that.
We're good.
Okay. C, Mr. Pitch.
Yeah, so we opened bids for the CCTV work for the storm sewers. We have the $125,000 state grant for that. That comes with a 15% match, so we have to spend around 150 to max out the grant. We got two bids, one very favorably. It came in at 132,000. That's Robinson Pipe Cleaning. So I would recommend awarding the contract to Robinson Pipe Cleaning in the amount of $132,000.
That's not anything we have in our paperwork, right?
It's not just on my.
Oh, okay. So
Which number was that, Matt? I'm sorry.
the motion to award the storm sewer.
Which number was it?
It's C. So I'll make the motion to award the storm sewer CCTV contract to Robinson Pipe for the numbers that you said that I didn't write. 132,000.
I'll second that.
First by Dr. Carpenter, second by Red. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Passed. Thank you. Mr. Pitts, you're up again on discuss and approve resolution for 2022 GEDTF application.
Yes, at the last meeting, I brought up that the county had opened up the 2022 GEDTF grant. There was a rather quick time frame on that. We had a brief discussion on the scope of work for those projects. So in the meantime, I prepared both of them, got both of them submitted. So depending on whichever one we want to pass a resolution for, that's the one that will be officially submitted. The first one was for the completion of the Second Street reconstruction. And then we revised it to include Center Avenue. That would be from ARB to Second Street. That project was slightly larger in scale. So if we chose that grant, we would be requesting $264,581 in grant funds. And our local match of 15% would be $46,690. The other project I put together was sanitary sewer lining to just keep moving forward with the Alcoasand consent order. That project would request $197,490 of grant funds, and our local match would be $34,851. While putting these together, I did realize the alleyway reconstruction grant that we have for next year is also a GEDTF. So the likelihood of us having two similar projects paving at the same time might be rather slim. So it might be in our advantage to submit for the sanitary sewer lining.
I have a couple questions.
Yes.
The sanitary sewer lining, I know that it's part of the thing for Alcoasand. Where are we as a borough in terms of being on schedule for doing all of our lining, sewer lining? I mean, are we on top of it? Are we on schedule? Are we behind? Are we ahead?
So as far as the consent order goes, we're a little bit ahead of pace.
Okay.
We're meeting all the requirements and then some. But the more that we can continue to do over the years, we've had some issues. On Parker Street, we had the sinkhole. So we've had some costly dig repairs. So the more of these grants that are available, we can get the most bang for the buck, getting the trenchless liners put in before we have costly dig repairs as well. We're making good steps forward to move towards, like Christine talked of, possibly within like the next 10 years, having the entire system lined, which is phenomenal and takes a big burden off of our back. So these grants definitely help us take a step in that direction.
Is this also part of what needs to happen for that takeover by Alcoasand regionalization? Is this part of that?
This project is not part of that. We have about 95% of that complete. We have one section of sanitary line that goes under the pickle factory that still needs some repairs. I've been working with contractors. That's a unique situation we're dealing with the line under the building the way it is. So we're working through that, and I'm working with AJ. We still have 2 or 3 manholes that need repaired. Beyond that, we're right on schedule to have all those repairs for the takeover done.
Great. And in terms of being able to finish Second Street and whatever it is on Center, I'm not familiar. So I get what you're saying, we probably wouldn't even get it, so might as well go for the one we can get, but what are your thoughts about when we can finish Second Street? Is it following year? Do you think there might be another grant that we can do for finishing Second Street paving?
So when it comes to paving, it's very limited on the grants that cover paving. The GEDFs are about one of the only things. CDBG for the cog wide will allow for paving, but that's only a 30,000 grant, which we would get next year, not 2023, but 2024. So I do have it broke out. It's estimated that to complete the Second Street reconstruction would be about 96,000. So if we were to look at budgeting paving funds, we could always look at that being next year's paving project.
Okay, all right, so that's 96.5, 96,500 approximately for that.
Approximately, in like, that's worst case scenario. When we did the lower section, it turned out that the roadway base under the brick turned out to be really nice. So we ended up saving like $40,000 not doing the base repair.
Okay.
So on this section, the base repair would turn out to be about $11,000 on that one.
But we can maybe project that if it was okay in the lower part, that the base wouldn't be too bad on the upper.
It's
part.
very likely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
So we need to make a motion.
If we're in agreement to go with the sanitary one, we would just need a motion to pass that resolution.
I'll make a motion to pass the sanitary sewer lining grant application.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Floyd, second by Dr. Carpenter. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Passed.
And I just realized I did not update the date on the resolution, so I will do that and email it to you for signature.
Okay,
Thank you. Does it need to be done by a certain date, the signature?
No, I had these prepared for the September meeting, so I'll just change that to the October, and then I'll email
We're
to
not
Ray for
doing it.
signature.
E's next month. Next is, we're gonna go. E is gonna be next month, resolutions. F, mini grants. Trish Resnick Showalter.
Our engineer Matt Pitch is so great at getting Verona big grants. I try to find little ones that complement them. I sent an email to everyone about a small grant, a $1,500 no match grant by an organization called America Walks. It's called a community change grant. And I had emailed everyone if it was okay to submit that, which was due over the weekend. Should we be selected, it would complement the aforementioned paving work that will be done on Sylvan Alley next year, to add potentially a pedestrian pathway as well as signage indicating seniors, children, and other pedestrians crossing. So I don't know, Mr. Solicitor, if we need to vote on that, because probably.
Ratify.
Okay, so I will make the motion to ratify the action to apply for the $1,500 community change grant.
Motion by Trish,
I'll second that.
second by Mr. Floda. Any questions? All in
Just want to
favor?
clarify, it's a no match, correct?
It's a no
No
match.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Passed.
I also want to mention another grant that was forwarded on to us by a constituent. It's called the Canoe Access Development Fund. It's sponsored by the Western Pennsylvania Conservancy. It's also, believe it or no, match grant up to $5,000. And I'm currently talking to Will Brown with Still City Rowing to see if we can potentially do some upgrades to our public dock that has been in disarray for some time and also lacks ADA accessibility. So more to come.
Thank you. Anybody else want grants with Trish? No? Okay, we're going to G, crosswalks at Second and Wildwood. Mr. Craig.
Yes, I was on the ATP, Active Transportation Plan Steering Committee, and one of the items that came up there regularly was there's no crosswalk at Second and Wildwood, and there is a bus stop on the other side of Wildwood. So I thought we could have Matt talk to either Allegheny County and Penn Hills, see if we can get something done with that while the reconstruction is being done there. Well, if we have workers there, see if it's possible to have something done about that.
I'll talk with them. I have to talk with them about some detour signs that are missing.
Okay.
I don't know what the likelihood of adding it at this point, but it's something that we can put on our list. The sidewalk stops at the old Jeep dealer. So it's not impossible. They do put just ramps in like a small 4x4 pad to receive people, and it's not connected to anything. We could start there and then try to get the sidewalk connected at some point. It is all in Penn Hills and it's Avalola's property, so there's some conversations to be had, but it's something that we can keep on our radar.
Okay.
I mean, even if we put one on the other side of the street where there is a sidewalk. by
Yeah, so we
acclamation,
can
that would be a
drop
start.
down to like the Village Inn
Yeah.
and possibly put one there.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
When is the work scheduled to be completed again?
It should be done by the end of the month.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's when I stopped up last week to talk to them, and they said probably about 5 days per lane.
Very good, thank you. That will move on to comments from the public.
Can I just ask?
Yep.
A quick question before we do that? Why did we skip the tax penalty?
That's
waiver?
on for next month.
Because it's
It's in
not-
the solicitor's report.
It's not supposed to go until next month, till
Somehow it got put on, it's not supposed to.
Oh,
after.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. This time we'll hear comments from the public. Please come to the podium or raise your virtual hand and give your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes, please.
Yes, my name is Gary Sherritt, 759 Second Street in Verona. The whole year was talking about the sinkhole on Parker Street. It's still sinking. That patch is all kind of like all blowed away and sunken down. It needs it looked after. One thing, and the other thing I'm hard of hearing, and we made an idea on this here, this health and safety. Now, is the whole idea going away, or is it just voted on a zero fee?
They
Because
authorize,
if it's just a zero fee, which means you can put the fee on at another time, or has the whole thing been just, we're just gonna get rid of the whole idea?
yes, they authorized me to prepare an ordinance repealing the health and safety fee ordinance, which was adopted last month. So it's
Okay.
dead in the water, as they say.
Okay, well, I just didn't quite understand exactly how that went. That's why I asked, because if it went the other way, just zero on the fee, then another time you can put the fee.
Sure you can.
That's the reason why I asked. Thank you.
Good point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Mrs. Ferguson.
Mr. Ferguson?
Kathy Ferguson, Third Street. I have a suggestion for communication. That each chairman of a group write a 5-line or something synopsis of what you have just told us and make sure that it gets in the newsletter. Now, all you'd have to do is write your little synopsis and give it to Sylvia or Dawn or whatever. And that would solve part of that problem with people knowing. I don't know if you can use the electronic bulletins to somehow advise people that something is coming up or something is in the wind. But that may help. And I know it's another thing on your plate, but 5 lines isn't that much as a summary. And I guess that would be up to Ray and the vice president or whoever you appoint to see that it gets done. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Kathy Conti, 723 Third Avenue. I'm in agreement with Ms. Ferguson on that issue about putting something in the newsletter so that it gets out to the public, because trying to find things is really hard. I mean, I've done it myself, going on the website and trying to find something specific can be very difficult to find. My other question, I would like to know what is going on with our salt situation for the winter, and if we are still, our salt supply is still located in the same place? Are we still leasing the same property, or has that changed? And what's going on with that?
We are in the process of building a temporary salt shed down at the old Borough Building, down on the river, down on Arch Street.
So is that going to be completed, that we'll be using it this winter?
It should be. They have the blocks up. The other day when I rode down by there, what they're building a, see them blocks are probably 6 feet by 2 feet. They're building walls out of that, and then we're ordered
the cover
canopy type thing for over top of it. They said I think it's supposed to be done by this year, yeah. We're hoping it is.
And if it's not, what are we going to be doing as far as salting the Verona streets?
Streets will get salted. I'm sure we can, I'm sure there's gonna be enough work done that it'll be done.
Okay.
They said it'll be done.
Thank you.
We've tarped it in the
Yeah.
past. It's not ideal. The tarp's heavy. The salt ends up getting wet, but worst case scenario, it'll be tarped.
Your microphones.
They're on.
Can you hear us?
I didn't hear it when you go tap, tap, tap. I couldn't hear your voices. Can't hear what you're saying.
Anybody else?
Gotta watch them.
Dan Rafferty, 728 Third. All this talk of sidewalks prompted me to go back 20 years ago when I moved in to 727 across the street. Rented a home. I love the town so much that moved, made myself permanent. I don't know if it's to the delight or chagrin of my neighbors. In any case, one of the things that bothered me from the get was the sidewalks, and not so much for me, but for elderly people. Now my mom, who moved in with us, is 81. She has a titanium plate in her hip already from falling and breaking her hip, and likes to walk the dogs. She has dogs. So my question is, I mean, there are literally on Third, at one point, they're still impassable, especially in the winter. Literally, the tree roots push the sidewalk up like this much. Literally, it's unbelievable. And I thought, there's no way with the code, and somebody was talking about a code enforcer, talking about some minor thing on their house, and I'm thinking, well, this certainly is something they deal with here. Well, I've never really asked I got a couple different answers. That's the homeowner's responsibility. That's, all these different answers over the years. So now here I am. So just, is that the homeowner's responsibility? And if it is, why do we have 20 years later, the same impassable sidewalk 2, 4, 8 houses up from me? I don't get that. So is that the homeowner's responsibility?
I believe it is the homeowner's
Absolutely,
responsibility.
100%.
So they don't do that, then what?
Then they can be cited by the code enforcement officer, who I believe we had an intern here recently who did a sidewalk analysis and went around and looked where all the bad sidewalks are. So we have an inventory of that. So hopefully we can get on that. We do have an outside agency as a code enforcement. So he usually does things on complaint-driven items first. So we could tell them about the sidewalks and try to get them up there. Citing these people is the way to go. I mean, they have to fix them.
If I may, solicitor, it was actually a $10,000 grant to do a complete comprehensive sidewalk inventory of our entire borough. So we do have that data now.
Is that recent?
Yes, just this year.
Oh, that's great.
Just a few months ago, I think.
But unfortunately, the problem with enforcing it is a lot of people, like so many of the problems we've discussed tonight and in general, they can't afford to fix their sidewalks. So we're
I realize
balancing
that. I just put sidewalks in my house,
Right.
100 feet, and it almost killed me. Because I couldn't, $9,000, so I get that.
Sure.
And I don't have I have a limited budget, but,
Sure.
not like some folks. So while I understand that,
Right.
I also, my mom I watched her one day last winter. She walked up the street and out into the street in snow. I said, what are you doing? She said, I can't walk over that, Anyway, enough said. I'm probably going to make this, I'll be respectful about it, but it's got to change. So maybe I could just help that process along. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Select workers who will do small jobs.
Yeah, where are they?
Anybody else?
People online, Ray.
Okay.
We got one more.
Kelly Collins, 736 4th Street, Verona, PA. I'd like to thank the council for repealing the health and safety fee. It is greatly appreciated that all of you listen to the voices of the people of Verona. And I'm sure everybody here appreciates that at this time. I know everybody needs to tighten their belts. All of us do. The council does. I know things are tough. I know people don't pay stuff, but this is a huge win for the people of Verona. And we're just very, very glad that you've listened to us. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Kelly.
Kelly.
Thanks, Kelly.
I'll be more for 735 Third Avenue. I have a question for Matt. Matt, when you talked about the grants for the projects that you announced tonight, does that also include ARPA money, the American Rescue Plan Act money?
Not yet. So the grants that we have are state and federally backed, and the ARPA money is not allowed to be used for the match amounts for those.
Okay,
So to my knowledge, we have not allocated the ARPA money yet.
okay,
Some of the easiest ways that it can be used is for infrastructure projects.
okay.
Those just have not been picked yet.
All right, great, thank you. And I would like to know, has any ARPA money been used yet? Any for anything?
Yes, and I'm not sure what it was for.
It was related to the electrical upgrades on the streetlights. But that's it.
Okay, because I know that as large as Penn Hills is, they're really utilizing the ARPA money. There's a lot of money out there. I mean, what did the president give the municipalities across the United States? Was it $6.2 billion? So we need to take advantage of that because it's just another way to help to get this budget deficit balanced.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody virtual? Vince?
There's two virtual
Oh, I'm
ones.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sandy Drabicki Bell, 619 Third Avenue. At the workshop meeting in September, you all talked about the vacancy chair, filling it, and I haven't heard anything about that. So has there been any thought about that? What's going on? Where's that? Thank you.
I believe we're gonna do that at the business meeting, correct?
This isn't-
I mean,
Workshop?
at the workshop.
Yeah, we talked about doing that at the workshop.
So should we let people know on the website and the Facebook page?
Look at all the people we have here tonight. Vacancy board chair, if anybody's interested, yeah, we should put it on the website and the social media. The vacancy board, so that the public is aware, when a vacancy occurs on council, council has 30 days to fill the vacancy once it's been accepted. And if they, for whatever reason, fail to do that, then it goes to what's referred to as the vacancy board. The vacancy board consists of the remaining 6 members of council and a vacancy board chair. The vacancy board chair is appointed generally every year at your first meeting. Not necessarily just your reorganization meeting, that's every other year, but the vacancy board chair under the borough code is supposed to be appointed every year. Nancy was the vacancy board chair, appointed at the last meeting in January, the first meeting in January. And she resigned so that she could take her council seat. So now there's a vacancy in the vacancy board chair. So that needs to be filled. In the event, as Nancy said, there's another revolving board member going off the board and we have a vacancy come on. If the vacancy board doesn't fill the vacancy within 15 days after council did, then it goes to court. And then the court fills the vacancy. And nobody wants to put that in the court's hands. The people should decide and council should decide who sits at this table. Who's on first? Third base.
Craig, then does that vacancy board chair always move up to the empty chair?
No, never moves up to the, well, that's not necessarily true. She was appointed, no, she didn't ascend. She was appointed to fill the vacancy, which created a vacancy in the other seat.
I have 2 hands up virtually.
Okay,
The first is Jessica Varone.
okay. Go ahead, Jessica. Can you hear us?
I can. The connection's been pretty bad tonight, so I don't know if you can hear me, but Jessica Varone, 722 Bruno Street. I'm speaking as a citizen, but just before I get into my comments, I just want to say on behalf of the Verona Community Group that we'd be more than happy to share information with the public via our email list. You know, I know that only reaches a certain population, but we're happy to help if there's information the council wants to get out there. I know it's tricky. There's been a lot of suggestions to put information in the newsletter, but that's only quarterly. And I think a lot of times council needs to get something out more quickly or not on that time frame. Anyway, just throwing that in there. So on to my comments. We heard a lot of public comment tonight about the health and safety fee. I missed some of it due to the poor connection, but it was clear that the public was not interested in paying for this. So I definitely understand the council's action to kind of go back on that ordinance. However, I do want to know if the council has any plans for how the borough is going to pay for some of those services that were going to be covered under that ordinance. I think I heard Red say that the fee wasn't for any specific purpose, but that's not true. If you actually read the ordinance, you know, it says specifically that it would be covering stormwater management, street lighting, street cleaning, weed and debris control, code enforcement, demolition, animal control, and similar services. I've heard a lot of complaining from the public over the last couple of years regarding like things like weedy yards, rats. That was a big topic. There's been code enforcement issues. You know, we hear all kinds of things like they want, the roads to be paved, or there's sidewalk issues, or, things like that. And all of that, or at least a big chunk of that falls under what the ordinance would have covered. So there was some preliminary work done, I know, in July during that meeting to plan for this year's budget process. And there was like a dot activity, and the public got to vote on their top priorities for spending, money. They were, I looked back, they were hiring police officers, getting body cameras, hiring a code enforcement officer, and demolition. So we heard that come up again tonight. All of that costs money, and I'm just not sure how these costs are going to be covered. So I guess am I assuming that we should anticipate maybe a millage increase, or that's what you guys are thinking for 2023? I'm sure a lot in the room wouldn't be happy about that either. And I understand that, we're in a tough financial place right now, as the world, and the public doesn't want to pay for things, but something is going to have to give. Our roads are going to have to be paved. These issues are going to have to be addressed. We're a small borough, but we do have all the resource needs of any other town. There were some questions about why we're in this financial situation. So I would encourage folks that have those questions to go back and look at last year's meetings on the topic. There was a fantastic budget meeting. I think it was November 23rd, where there was a lot of this explained. So nobody, especially the current council members, should be surprised when we're once again faced with a tight budget this year and another deficit. We kicked the can down the road last year, and we're once again faced with the same challenges. You can see those videos on YouTube from the last year's meetings if you look on the borough's website. I say all of that to just bring a little reality check into the room. There's only so much you can squeeze out of the orange. So I hope everyone can give some thought to that between now and whenever I don't know if there's going to be a public budget session this year. Maybe I missed it. That it would be great to have another one of those, because I think it was really helpful for the folks, in the community to understand the budget process and how funds were being spent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are planning on having another budget meeting in the fall.
In fact, Mr. President, it says here under number 6, under your report, a scheduled special budget meeting. I don't think we did that.
I don't know if we can schedule a date yet, because we don't know where we're at with the budget.
I think we have
We
to
need to
wait
start
talk
on
to
it,
the borough manager about that.
Okay. I just wanted to.
We have another member of the public virtually with their hand up. Luke Maddox.
Luke, you're there? Can you hear us?
Yeah, hi. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Luke.
Yes.
Yeah, Luke Maddox, 234 Penn Street. I have something I'd like the borough to consider. As you know, I was involved with Verona Business District Advisory Committee back when a lot of the improvements were made. And almost from the beginning, when the pavilion was put up, just beneath the clock, it says Verona, but it's a very open framework that it says Verona, and it's not very apparent that it says Verona. And my suggestion is for council to take a look at that and consider putting a panel behind it that would make the Verona show up better. I'm willing to donate the panel. I would just need the size from the street crew.
Luke, I have a question about that.
Yeah.
It's been brought up many times before about how that pavilion roof doesn't protect people from rain because it blows in through that gap that you're talking about. Would it be would it be feasible to put a panel along the whole length of both sides of that to keep it dry underneath for when people have activities there?
That's a good idea, but that might be a structural type issue. I don't know if that was designed so it would let the wind blow through so that there's no, wind load on the building.
Yeah, I mean, even if we put panels and they had some sort of minor ventilation, like holes in it so it could breathe, but it would still stop a lot of the rain from blowing underneath there. It's just a thought since we're exploring this.
Yeah, I don't know, when that was built, that was actually a whole design, system. So I can't really, speak to that. But the panel that would be behind the Verona word is only, a few square feet. And my suggestion would be, to do a panel that would be similar to the roof color. So like a copper color that would make the black show up good. And I can get that at no cost.
All right, we'll discuss it and get back with you, Luke.
Thank you, Luke.
Thank you.
Yeah, take a look at that over the next couple weeks. Thank you.
Thanks, Luke. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Any other virtual hands? Anything else?
Let me check.
Aren't some of those issues, were they not covered through our real estate taxes?
Right.
Yes. Okay. She's making it out to me that it's something completely opposite. I mean, I thought all of that's taken care of through all our property taxes that you just raised in 2022. And like I said, I'm sure we're gonna get another increase in 2023.
I guess that's her opinion, you know.
Okay.
You just kind of brought it across like it's that and what we're gonna pay
Right,
that.
it's like
and
that we're already paying
Okay.
that.
We've already been paying that, and all of a sudden we need more money in order to pay that.
Having clarity on that.
Yeah, and, I wanted to ask another question.
Can you
is,
come up to the podium, please, sir?
Yeah. Again, my name's Gary Sherritt, 759 Second Street in Verona. Are we having problems with our policemen, police brutality and stuff like that, that we need cameras on our policemen? What do we got, 3 policemen here? That's $150,000 to invest in cameras on each policeman. Are we having a problem with police brutality? Do we need this at this particular time? That I know that there's a lot of dots on that, but I don't quite understand why we need that over and above all the other issues that we have.
Those dots over there are.
Well, I was here when we put the dots on. I know, I understand what that was all about. I mean, I didn't understand why there were so many dots on that unless we was having a police brutality problem in the community that we needed to check on our police to see what's going on with them. And which would then, I would understand why then we would need to invest $150,000 in these cameras, which I don't really feel that it's necessary at
Right
this
now,
point.
that's all that stuff on that board is a wish list.
No, okay, but she brought that up as well, that we need these cameras on these cops, and I don't, there's not a police brutality issue that we need to really have that. Until we do, then
hope we never have that problem.
well, right, and I'm, but still, that's a lot of money, and it's some, I know we're putting cameras up all everywhere.
Yep.
But I don't think we need that at this point, and then I'm not the whole public, but it's still, if we don't have a problem, let's not create one.
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate it.
Gary, can I make a comment on what you just said, please?
Yes.
Yes, we do have cameras here. That didn't come out of taxpayer money. I applied for a grant. It was $100,000 grant that was available. I got 75,000. With that money, we got cameras, which we feel we need to protect every person in this community. So yes, we do have cameras. We also had to put a, I want to call it an air freshening room in there. When you get people in there with drugs, it doesn't smell very good. So that had to be all revamped. That cost everybody in this room $0. That came out of a $75,000 grant. We still do need body cameras. Those body cameras, people can lie and say that policeman abused me, he did this, he did that, but when they have that camera on them, you cannot accuse them because it's on there, it's on a film. I have applied for body cameras just recently, and I'm working on a grant to get them. And it's not, it's not gonna cost.
Okay,
It's not gonna come out of borough. No, it's not gonna
Yeah,
come
but
out of,
they made it sound like it's coming out of our budget.
oh,
Yes, she did. She made it sound that we need this and that money's coming out of there. So therefore it's coming out of our tax dollars. And that's what I'm saying. We have other problems here in the borough that
Right.
need to be taken care of opposed to that.
Gary, I agree with you,
Okay.
100%.
Well, then
But
now
I
we're
just
on the
wanted
same
to
page.
clarify.
Okay,
that
thank you
we're
for your
not going to-
comments. Thank you,
We're not going
Sylvia.
to touch taxpayer money.
Thank
If
you,
I can get the
Sylvia.
grant.
Anybody else have any comments from the public on different?
This will be my last comment. Dan Rafferty, 728. Didn't plan on making a final comment, but I believe wholeheartedly what you said. I think there should be cameras on every police officer in the whole country for 2 reasons. One, to guard against what he might do in a bad moment, but also to protect him. And so it's a preventative thing, where you say, we don't have any issue right now. Well, if you want to have an issue, then don't have cameras. So it's a preventative thing on both sides. You know, and I was a teacher for a lot of years too. The same thing with cameras in classrooms, kids going off on teachers, inner city, 10 years. You know,
Thanks, Dan.
and I used to not support that, and I support that now. So thank you.
Thank you.
Shanny can have the last comment. Come up to the podium, please.
Come up.
Got lost in the shuffle here when we jumped from vacancy chair to everything that happened after that. I just need to know. Workshop meeting in October. This is going to be discussed. Should people get in their applications, letters of interest?
Yeah.
You had asked if anybody was interested in the audience here.
Yes.
Can I make a nomination?
Put a letter of
Put a letter of
interest
interest in, have them
Okay.
put a letter of interest in.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One last thing at this time. I just want to introduce somebody that's here, that's in our local, our neighboring community. She snuck in. I just want to introduce the mayor of Penn Hills, Pauline Calabrese.
Comes to our meeting. I'm sorry he's not here tonight because I was gonna say, would you believe?
Come up here. Come up here. With
Oh,
the people at home can't hear you. Well, they can't hear you.
Yeah,
if
for
you
the
don't
Zoom
speak
people
into
here,
the
you
mic.
can see it.
Yeah.
Put a mic in her hand, she starts telling jokes though.
Okay, you got 3 minutes.
The only thing worse than the front of me is the back of me, so pardon my back. I'm sorry your mayor isn't here because he comes to our meetings all the time, and I wanted to say, would you believe that he came to visit up at Seneca Hills Village, the seniors, and he got there a little bit early and he was quite impressed with himself. He walked through the hall and he said, "Do you know who I am?" And the lady said, "No, but they have a list at the front desk. She can tell you." Your mayor does come to our meeting. It's wonderful for me to sit here, and I know so many of you up there. Sylvia was up at, I'm sorry, Sylvia, excuse me. I'm looking at all the beautiful ladies. I was talking to Sylvia today, but Nancy was at our CDC meeting. See Ray all the time. Of course, we share our solicitor. It's so good to hear you talk about Penn Hills here because I'm here to tell you that one of the things that we're doing, and you get a lot of money because we are the largest suburb, but we're really, really conscious of the fact that, you know, we're huge. We've got close to 30 neighborhoods, but we border each other. So one of the things that we're doing right now in Penn Hills is we're going to do a huge ad campaign for, sort of like rediscover the burbs, like come and notice us out in the east. And, the way we're going to increase our tax base is people don't realize we have over 75% home ownership. And we want to, though, have every home filled, and whatever happens in our area affects you, and we affect each other, and Oakmont and Plum and so forth and so on. So we are starting to, that we just got the grant from Allegheny River for the trail from Allegheny River Boulevard to Boys Park. Well, that's what connects us. That's part of what connects us. So we have so many things that are going on. I'm talking fast because I know Ray's watching the clock. But we are starting an initiative. So even though we're saying Penn Hills, it's not going to be just Penn Hills. It's the eastern suburbs. And we all affect each other. And, one of the things on a more somber note, though, is we all share our beloved state representative, Tony DeLuca. And, certainly you all know that. And of course, tomorrow is the viewing from 2 to 8, and then there's the funeral on Thursday. So we share so many things and so many people and families. And we want you to know that we're starting this initiative. So your mayor comes to our meetings, I'll be back to yours. And we love being your neighbor, and we're going to try to make ourselves more attractive because we know we have a bad public relations, we got a bad image, but we're really working on that, and we want you to come with us. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mayor. I have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make it.
First by Sylvia, second by Nancy. Any questions? All in favor? Against? Passed. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for everybody for coming to the meeting tonight and you're expressing your opinion.